Harper Audio presents In Pursuit of Eliza Cynster by Stephanie Laurens, performed by Matthew Brenher. Prologue. April 1829. The Green Man Tavern, Old Town, Edinburgh. As previously discussed, Mr. Scrope, my request is straightforward. I require you to kidnap Miss Eliza Cynster from London and deliver her to me here, in Edinburgh. Mackenzie, he was still calling himself that. It was a perfectly good alias, after all, lounged in a booth at the rear of the dimly lit tavern, his gaze levelled on the man seated opposite. You have had your 2 weeks to reconnoitre and consider. The only question remaining is whether you can deliver Eliza Cynster to me, unharmed and in good health, or not. Scrope, dark-haired and dark-eyed, his face long, his features haughty, held his gaze. After due consideration, I believe we can do business, sir. Indeed? Mackenzie lowered his gaze to where his fingers caressed the sides of an ale-glass. What was he doing? He didn't trust Scrope as far as he could throw him, and yet here he was, dealing with the man. His equivocation was genuine, although Scrope would doubtless see it as a ploy that Mackenzie assumed disbelief to keep his price down. In reality, Mackenzie thought Scrope would succeed. That was why he was there, hiring a gentleman. Scrope actually was one. Known among the wealthy, especially the aristocracy, as the man who could, for a fee, make inconvenient relatives disappear. In blunt terms, Scrope was a kidnap and disposal specialist. The word about the clubs was that he never failed, which in part explained his exceedingly high price. A price Mackenzie, for all his hesitancy, was prepared to pay, doubly over, to have Eliza Cynster delivered into his hands. Raising his glass, he sipped, then looked at Scrope. How do you propose to accomplish Miss Cynster's abduction? Scrope leaned forward, forearms on the table. Folding his hands, he lowered his voice even though there was no one else near enough to hear. As you predicted, in the wake of the recent failed attempt to kidnap Miss Heather Cynster, Eliza Cynster is being kept under strict and constant guard. Unhelpfully, that guard includes her brothers and cousins. Over an entire week she did not appear once in public, even when travelling to and from private functions, without one or more of said gentlemen hovering close. The Cynster family is not relying on mere footmen to keep their young lady safe. Scrope paused, his dark eyes trying to read Mackenzie's lighter ones. To be candid, the only way to lay hands on Eliza Cynster will be to stage some form of ambush, which, of course, will run the risk of injuring not only her guards. If force is our only option, I cannot guarantee Miss Cynster's safety. Not until she's in my keeping. No. Mackenzie's flat tone made the prohibition absolute. No violence of any kind, not toward the young lady, nor even her guards. Scrope pulled a face and spread his hands. If you forbid the use of force, then I can't see how the task can be accomplished. Mackenzie arched a brow. One nail slowly tapping the wooden table, he studied Scrope's passably elegant face. No emotion of any kind showed. Scrope's poker face was as good as Mackenzie's own. But his eyes... The man was cold. There was no other word for it. Emotionless, detached, the sort of man who would do murder as easily as dropping his hat. Unfortunately, fate had left Mackenzie few options. He needed someone who could get the job done. Retreat wasn't an option. Not now, not for him. But if he was going to unleash the man and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?